Hi, and welcome to another episode of Chef Hacker. Today we are going to talk about kale. Now, you may recall that this had hit the scene, I don't know, about 10 or 12 years ago, and it was a superfood that would unequal anybody else's superfood. I mean, it would solve shortages of vitamins and minerals. It would provide fiber. It was keto. It even could improve the reading comprehension of both domestic and farm animals. Well, okay, I made that last part up, but still, the fervor over the wonderfulness of kale has died down, but still, that leaves us now with just a great, healthy vegetable. And the way that I like to make it, actually our favorite way to have it, is something we call Kale Al Fresco. It's a combination of a fresh tomato sauce along with a cooked kale. So let's get started on that. We take one bunch of kale, about 8 ounces, 14 ounces of diced tomatoes, 1 ounce of sauerkraut, and about an ounce of olive oil. Two large cloves of garlic, some rosemary, oregano, basil, some coarse black pepper, salt, and normally I'd use dried parsley, but I had some fresh parsley in the fridge, so I'm going to use fresh parsley. And a few red pepper flakes just to add some heat. And of course soy sauce. So we're going to cut the curly brown ends off the kale. And then we're going to cut the rest of the kale into pieces about 3 inches long. Normally that's about 3 cuts within a bunch of kale. Now we're going to take this kale and we're going to submerge it into a pan of cold water. We do this to, wait, I left the band on there. We do this so that we can remove any sand or dirt that's stuck in the leaves of the kale. Stir it around with our hands. All the sand and dirt will drop to the bottom of the bowl. And then we lift the kale out of the water and transfer it to a strainer. All the dirt or sand will remain in the bottom of the container. This kale looks pretty clean already, but now we'll slap the garlic down, remove the skins, and then we will rough chop the garlic. No, we don't need those brown bits. Let's get rid of those. All right, there's a nice coarsely cut couple of cloves of garlic. Now for the parsley, I wash it. I curl it up really tightly, and then I just slice through it. And then I go over it again a few more times with the knife, just to make sure that any pieces that I missed the first time through get chopped up. This is a little more than I would normally use if it was dried, but I do love fresh parsley, so we use what we have. Now these onions, the recipe calls for white onions. These are red onions. We had these left over from some pizza that my wife made the prior evening. And that's part of hacking, is using what you have. Once you develop your skills and you know what tastes go with what other tastes, you get a little more confident in substituting. In this case, a simple substitution of red onions for white onions, and it will add a nice taste to the dish. And then celery. We're going to cut these in about well, about 1/4 inch cubes. Ward's kind of walking away from me there a little bit. It's an argument for placing a damp towel underneath the board. Okay, so get a tall pot, put it on the stove, add your olive oil, put the flame on medium-high, and let that oil heat up. Then you go ahead and add your garlic. Now we're looking to get a little bit of brown on this garlic. Don't overdo it or it'll make the dish bitter, but a small amount of browning of the garlic will just give you an enhanced flavor. After a minute or two, you turn down the flame to medium and you add the celery and the onions. Give that a stir. And cook the onions for about a few minutes until the onions are translucent. Then we add our seasoning. Give it a stir. Put the lid on the pot again. Now we want to expand the flavor of those spices in the oil and the liquid from the vegetables. After about 30 seconds, that's done, so you put your kale in. Add your tomatoes. Sauerkraut. And soy sauce. Give it a shake to settle everything in. Cover and cook on medium for about 5 minutes, and then give everything a good stir. Once you're all stirred up, place the cover, cook for another 7 minutes. So now, after 12 minutes, this dish is cooked perfectly to our liking. About 12 minutes for al dente. If you like softer vegetables, then add a few minutes to that. But for us, this dish is complete. So let's take it and plate it out. So there is Kale Al Fresco. Okay, so that's Kale Al Fresco. It works great as a side dish. It's very healthy. Or you could serve it over pasta, potatoes, or rice, and then it could be an entree, and it's vegan friendly. If you like to eat animal products, then you could even put some sliced cooked chicken or some anchovies on just before you serve it. And the unusual thing, the hack here, is that we add soy sauce and sauerkraut, two things that you would never think to put in an Italian flavored dish. That works very well in this one. Okay, so that's it. If you like this video, please like the video below and send us some hacks of your own.